Alan 532 asks, will Imagon be featured in Tiberian Sun
Yes.
Horizon? Yes.
Have we
Umagon-
started yet?
Before I get into that response, let's just do a little bit of introductions. How about that?
Oh yeah, this is even better. Well,
So,
how about you start, because you're the project lead?
yeah, alrighty. I'm, you know me as Assassin. My name's David Thompson. I'm the game director of Tiberian Sun Rising, effectively the project lead, producer, game designer. It's just, too many responsibilities. But yeah, just the project lead basically. And we got Darth Jane, who is essentially our, I'm gonna say, technical director, and our expert on the Sage engine. And we got Sagor, who's one of our level designers. He did the amazing intro video with the battle sequence that was just epic, and he also worked on another map that's coming up in the ecosystem video, the Tiberium Gardens Rising, and he's also working on some other maps. He's awesome level designer. Tim, who is helping us with 3D art, he actually did build-up animations for a ton of things that we didn't get time to finish hooking them all up for the showcase, sadly, because we were crunching pretty hard getting a lot of things done for the showcase, and we tried to get everything in, and some things had to be cut in the interest of getting the videos done, and even then we still ran a little bit behind. And who else is online from the team? Is that it from the team here?
I think it is, yeah.
Yeah, okay. That's so yeah, we got 4 of us from... Oh, and we got Hostile Negotiator joining us, who is part of the optimization team, helping me, Duff, Jane, and Firehawk. The 4 of us are working on the optimization of Tiberian Sun Rising, which is one of the big things we're working on for getting the beta out, which is improving performance substantially, and particularly stability is what we're more concerned about, but the speed boost is a nice added value.
And they also want to say that we have more staff people that actually want to join us, but they are at work, so unfortunately they are not able to join us.
Yeah, so that's it. I'll give shout outs for Don, who wasn't able to make it because of work. Or actually, he can take text questions, but he can't do voice because he's at work. Don's our animator. He did the amazing animations for the Cyborg Commando, the Cyborg Reaper, the Visceroid, which you haven't seen yet. That's coming up in the ecosystem video. He's done so many awesome animations for us. Don's amazing. And Drazzle is another one of our level designers. He's done some awesome levels as well. Sergeant Rowe, who helps us with 3D art, he did the Scarab, the amphibious carrier, and has helped on a few other things, including a new Devil's Tongue model, which we didn't get time to hook up for this event, because the current one's completely animated, so it's more the animations is why it didn't make it. But we have a new Devil's Tongue coming that Sarge did, and that's the apologies from the people that want to be here but can't. So Saturo, Don, Ydrazzle, send their best. Alrighty. Let's get answering questions. So
yeah.
So to answer the Umagon question, yes, Umagon will be in. She is not on GDI or Nod, but there is a tech building which, depending on the faction you are, will allow you to hire different mutants, and GDI can hire Umagon to work for them if the tech building's on the map you're playing.
My
That's for the
boy asked a question. Are you planning to make a remake of Tiberian Sun campaign? Yes, looking far ahead, in my plans is to start working to Tiberian Sun campaign remake, and there is first mission prototype. Hope it will be showed today.
That said, yeah, as I said, our level designers, Alex Lagor, are super keen to do the campaign. The main thing is we're focusing on the multiplayer release for launch. But that said, we are experimenting with the campaign, and it's something we really want to do. It's just something I'm a bit cautious about hyping up too much or putting too much. I don't want to promise something we can't deliver. So, right now, we want to do more work to finish sussing out how essentially scope it. Something we didn't do with Tiberian Sun Rising properly, hence the big project it's been. So, we're trying to manage the rest of the project quite as efficiently as we can, having learned a lot of hard lessons. And so we can deliver the campaign to you in a smoother, faster fashion than, the entire game to date, I guess. Yeah. And that
But
said,
we're looking. I'm talking that I'm looking far ahead because I know that I want to implement to do that campaign remain. Yes.
awesome. Yeah, I can't wait to see more mission work from you, Sigar. You've been,
Yeah,
especially
definitely.
your mastery of the scripting of the engine is the level scripting is really good, as you demonstrated in the intro video.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the cell map
Hope
is
to
just
see.
amazing.
Hope to see it every day in the main menu screen.
So let's see what other questions we have. Will we be able to cross water, and will there be water? Yes, and yes, you can cross it with amphibious vehicles or hover vehicles, and of course aircraft can fly over it. And water was in the map video, and I've shown water in our screenshots and stuff. So
Yeah,
yeah.
I think we even have videos, all the videos on ModDB that showcase the hover MLS going on over the water. The gameplay
Someone's
from
asking
a
about
couple years ago.
the right. Yeah, so there's definitely that video. And
Yep.
Kane's asking about the harvester pathfinding. Does anyone wanna field that?
The Harvester Pathfinder, if you want up a base on the GDR path videos, see the Harvester don't notice the gate in the wall. So from my
Oh, right.
experience, yeah. So from my experiences is that it will try its best to find a way out, and it actually always does. It just depends if you have one gate, it tries to get through its own pathfinder, because from my experience, that's hard coded in the engine. Correct, David?
Yes, somewhat. The update on the pathfinding is mostly hard-coded. We can tweak it a little bit for harvesting purposes. For navigation, it's mostly hard-coded, but I have found the harvester has a greater success rate when there's multiple auto gates in a row, which is one of the reasons we gave it wall logic, but also just to make gates easier to build, because placing them individually is a nightmare. Placing them
It is a
as
nightmare. Yes.
placing gates like walls is amazing. It just makes it so much easier. And that said, I found that the range of the gate activation for the harvester makes a difference. So we're still fine tuning what's the best range for the most successful navigation. At the moment, the well, sorry, I was responding to people in the Discord. So we're still fine tuning the range of the activation for the gates. But what we've currently got running works reasonably well. Like the harvesters can activate the gates at a greater distance than other units because they have a higher priority to getting into the base. But we're still fine tuning that, so we can improve that. So what you've seen, like if you're worried about bugs there, don't worry, we're still finessing that. it will get at least a little bit better.
From Delta 5, 2 questions. Can we expect any kind of single player campaign or custom missions? Well, the single player has already been answered. How about custom mission? Are we? Well, of course, you can make your own with a world builder.
That's a common thing that I'm planning to make campaign missions, yes. But what custom missions you want to know about? Uh, I think that better to community make some kind of custom missions they want. I guess our task as developers to make single player experiences. It was in the original Tiberian Sun, where single player were represented as campaign.
Okay, cool. Then he had a second question, which is: I noticed vine holes in the map showcase. Will there be weed eaters and chemical missiles? And are there any new ways to interact with vine holes? Do you want to answer that, David? Or
About vein holes,
yeah.
Yeah.
how they form,
So,
or
no. So Delta noticed that there are vein holes in the map showcase. Will there be weed eaters and chemical missiles? And are there any new ways to interact with vine holes?
vein holes can be well, the veins from the vein hole can be harvested by a weed eater to make the chemical missile. Absolutely. There we've got some footage of that in the ecosystem video coming up, which we'll be showing in the what's scheduled for our closing videos. And in terms of new interactions, well, there's the tentacles that extend out from the vein hole, which I explained in the previous Q&A, that gives the vein hole a stronger defense against things like disruptors destroying it. At least they, it's much harder for ground vehicles to destroy a vein hole now. So we've given the vein holes a stronger defense because we want Nod to have a chance to have the chemical missile and not just have GDI destroying the things on site, kind of like they did in the original game. Although aircraft can still take out a vein hole pretty well. But that said, on certain maps where we deem the vein hole critical to the balance of the map, we will be setting some vein holes to be respawnable after a delay. Essentially, it regrows because most of the creature lives underground. So on some maps you'll be able to kill it permanently, and on other maps you won't be able to kill it permanently if it's a key fixture of the map, and that's up to the level designer to decide. We had to have some flexibility with the ecosystem to suit level design. Sorry, we're picking up some background noise from someone. I'll just mute them, sorry.
Also, so I want to extend on that is if you build the waste facility, it will automatically spawn a weed eater, and it will automatically harvest the tentacles around the vine hole, and that will count down the chemical missile in the current build. If that's correct still.
Yes, and just like Tiberian Sun, after the weed eater has harvested enough veins, the waste facility constructs the missile. So like Tiberian Sun had like a short... The delay for constructing the missile is very short, and we've got the same thing where after harvesting enough veins, the missile silo has like I think it's like a 6-7 second construction time for the chemical missile, and then it's ready, and then you can fire it. But you must harvest veins to get the missile. There's no other way to get it. And if you're wondering how we achieved that, well, just like a lot of people watching the dropship video are like, that's impossible in this engine. No, we will show you what's possible in this engine. It's capable of a lot more than what people think.
Yeah, and that's also thanks to the LUA scripting. if I pronounce it correctly.
Lua scripting in the engine.
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
the
Lua
engine
scripting,
has
yeah.
a very robust Lua scripting layer, and it's also thanks to essentially technical director Daf Jane turning us on to Lua and sort of showing us what it could do, and also Golan, which used to be one of the coders on our team as well. He was actually the developer on the team that coded the dropship initially, whereas I did I coded the waste facility and weed eater code. Yeah.
Well, we have a question in Twitch. Captain Mr. Obvious asking, do you or will you have ice fractures cracking with heavy units?
That's something I'm still experimenting with. I do have the Tiberium algae, which will be shown in the ecosystem video, where that spreads across water, and that's kind of an obstacle for amphibious units. Like, it will damage them, sort of like how Veins damages vehicles, but not quite as viciously as Veins do. And algae also has some other hidden purposes that we won't be revealing yet. And with the ice cracks, that's something we're still experimenting with. I can't give a definite answer on if it's definitely doable or not. It's something I'm hoping we can get working, but it still requires some more experimentation. It's on the list, although there's higher priority lists, higher priority items like the optimization that's been taking a lot of our time. But
Let's say it will continue. Continue, because I interrupted you.
Sorry. In short, we'll do our best to bring back the cracking ice. If we can't bring it back as like a field of ice, what we can definitely do is do ice bridges that respond to weight of units, and then once they're destroyed, they cannot be brought back like like a regular bridge, because ice don't have a bridge repair hut.
Nope. That's for later development.
Yes, and that will be exclusive to tundra and snow maps.
Of course, as well, yeah. Let's see. Noah Allen also asked, will Tiberian Sun Rising feature a downloadable world builder already patched for Tiberian Sun Rising, so I don't have to mess around with this seemingly buggy world builder for the original game? So this is actually an interesting thing. I think you can actually fill me up here. You told me that Tiberian Sun Rising actually have all the base game assets from Tiberian Wars deleted. So will this still cause a issue with world builder?
I think I'm the best person to answer that question.
Yes. Okay. Go ahead.
So we yes, as you say, we removed basically everything from the original game, but a few things will be added back. But nothing which will hinder the world builder or the game to run, obviously. And we are actually packaging the mod in a way which is basically standalone from the game itself. So you need to have it installed, but your mod won't touch anything other than itself. Okay, that sounded wrong.
That sounded,
so your game files won't be affected. The actual game won't even know that you installed the mod. But we plan to have everything ready to go when we release. So basically, you start a launcher and click on World Builder, and it launches the World Builder for Tiberian Sun Rising and Tiberian Sun Rising alone. You click on the game, and it starts the game.
Okay. I hope that answers the question.
I was responding to someone on the Anniversary Discord. Sorry, could you run that by me again?
Well, Red AR, Zlobny Hru, I have two questions actually. What is the fate of the Ghost Stalker? Will he be featured in the game?
Will Ghost Stalker be featured?
Yeah.
Yes, Ghost Stalker will be returning, although not as part of the Global Defense Initiative. The new GDI commando with the Havoc suit, a power suit, that's sort of like an early prototype of what will eventually become the Zone, the Zone Trooper sort of tech. But they're, because it's cutting edge tech, they're trying it out on their most important troops first, and they've got some interest from the commandos, which are not too thrilled about how deadly Tiberiums become. Like Havoc could laugh about it in his day, but no one's laughing anymore with Tiberium fiends and vein holes and Tiberium gas and the floaters. The list of hazards is they need some sort of protective suit. So the commandos are pretty thrilled about the possibilities for crushing noddies with this new tech.
So yes, you started to answer the second question.
Sorry, as for how Ghost Stalker will be returning, he'll be available via a tech structure that, depending on your faction, you'll be able to hire different units. So if you're GDI, you can hire Umagon and Ghost Stalker from this particular building, which is, I think we're calling it the mercenary. The mercenary hut, or at the moment, because a lot of the Forgotten hire themselves out as mercs. So, but only certain Forgotten will work for GDI, and only certain mutants will work for Nod. They're very picky about who they work for.
So you started asking second question. His second question: will the GDI commanders have ability to leave his Havoc armor?
Yes.
The ability to lift his
Right.
helmet.
No, his Havoc armor. So if you spawn in the Havoc commando armor, will the commando be able to leave the Havoc armor?
Oh yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
With the Havoc suit and the new commando for GDI, we didn't just want to bring in a GDI commando just like exactly like Havoc. We wanted to do something new with the commando that we hadn't seen in Command & Conquer before. So Tiberian Sun before, because we're a mod for the Command & Conquer series, but EA owns Command & Conquer. Anyway, sorry. So we wanted to do something new with the commandos, and so the idea was a tag team. The Havoc suit is not just a suit that the commando wears, but it's effectively their sort of teammate. I guess is a way of sort of thinking about it, in the sense that when they're inside the suit, they get augmented by the suit, and they carry this railgun-like weapon, while in the suit. And then once they leave the suit, they have to leave the railgun behind, because the suit is only the only thing capable of lifting it with the muscle enhancement they get being inside the suit. On foot, the commando loses the protection from Tiberium, so he's exposed, so he has to be careful of exposure to Tiberium, but he does have a rifle for one-shotting enemy infantry, and he can plant C4 charges on buildings. And while he's outside the suit, Ava can take remote control of the Havoc suit, and you gain control of the Havoc suit while the commander is not inside it, and you can, as the commander, pilot it around to either cause a distraction or engage its when the commander's outside the suit, it engages its jump jets, I believe, and this is what we ended up with, and it can fly off and either scout out our areas or cause harassment, but it can't fire the railgun without the commando inside it because it's too heavy for the suit to lift. It has to either stop moving and deploy into a fixed emplacement to use the railgun, or it's got it can shoot some rockets out of its jetpack. There's shoulder mounted rocket launchers. It has, and it can fire from those rocket pods. But only when the commando's outside the suit. When the commando's inside the suit, the rocket pods aren't fully active because that power is diverted to the jump jet, allowing the commando to do to fly effectively, but not fly like a jump jet trooper. They fly more like a Command & Conquer 3 commando. They do a hop. They can do short bursts. They can't do continuous flight because the suit is too heavy. Sorry for the long response on that. Oh, and as Tim's posted up in general, if the Havoc suit gets destroyed while the commando is outside of it, the commando is not doomed. You can order a replacement Havoc suit from the Philadelphia via drop pod, a specialized drop pod that has a replacement Havoc suit in it. But it costs. It's at a cost. It is not free. And that is the only time.
That's correct.
And that is the only time you can summon it, is when the Havoc suit's been destroyed, but the commando is still alive. If the commando dies, you just build a new Havoc suit from the barracks with a commando inside it.
That is correct. I see some questions popping up on Twitch. Let's see. I saw a wall auto cell to let players place a building in his place. I don't know exactly what you mean by that, Violet and Red. If you can explain it better, we will probably be able to answer that correctly. Let's see. Yeah, well, of course, to answer the question that everybody has, when this is going to be released? When it's done, soon, as the joke is. Because we are still developing the mod, we are adding stuff. You still have to add animations for build-up animations, destruction animations. Features gonna be added. So when it's done, we of course gonna make a post on ModDB and let everyone know when the release is soon.
Oh, and the person asking about Tiberian Apocalypse, that was made by a different team. It was a mod for Battlefield, if I remember correctly, that was cancelled.
Battlefield 2, correct?
I believe so, and
yeah,
I'm not sure what's happening with that. Sorry, can't answer that. From what I understand, people that worked on that project are on a part of the Renegade X team, aren't they? Or no? I could be wrong. If not, don't worry. I've heard at least one person from that joined Renegade X, but I could be wrong.
Master Leaf CNC is asking from the Twitch, will there be a multiplayer mode? Do you plan on making this for online play, competitive play?
How about you answer this one, Duff, Jane?
Yeah, it will obviously feature multiplayer, and I'm actually pushing hard to get this mod into shape, which also caters to a competitive audience instead of just Tiberian Sun fans.
So yeah, we're trying to make the multiplayer pretty robust. And as for connecting to online servers, like we've built that into our launcher, and maybe you could tell us a bit about that, Duff, if you think it's ready. If not, then we can move on to something else.
Not really completely ready yet, but
it's something that
I'm implementing a CNC online connection thing out of the box, so there's no need to get CNC online at all for this mod.
That said, you
And
still need
also,
to register with an account with them, and we have been collaborating with them on this.
yes,
So we do have their
but
permission. We're not just circumventing. Just to make that clear.
yeah, but everything else will be pretty much automatic. And we are working hard on removing any issues. So, like for example, the original CNC Online launcher has that SSL EAY DLL not found issue, and our launcher shouldn't have that issue.
Nice. And ours will also take you to a different lobby, right? So you don't get just mixed in with other CNC3 players automatically. Is that right?
Currently it doesn't, but maybe
okay.
in the future.
Alright, so that might be something that's possible.
Yep.
That's cool, because I'm using the CNC net launcher myself. It's always hard to actually find a game that is the base game or a different mod. So if it's actually showcasing Tiberian Sun Horizon only, that will be amazing. Has the question, by the way, been answered with will there be a multiplayer mode, or do you plan on making this for online play, competitive play?
That
Yes.
was the question, yes.
Okay, so that was been answered. Okay. I also see on Twitch by Violet that is asking what's the flat obelisk. The obelisk is actually having two different firing modes in Tiberian Sun Horizon. So compared to the standard known Tiberian Sun, which just suits ground units, it actually has two alternate position firing modes, if I'm correct. It suits ground and air. Well, ground or air. That's correct, right, David?
Not air. No. What the two modes are? It was inspired by the original concept art for Tiberian Sun, actually, which showed it in a more compact mode and an extended mode. So when it's extended, it fires a longer charged volley that we all know the obelisk to be. You know, it's a long charge up and then a powerful strike. When it's compacted into its more slim profile, well, one, its range is reduced a little bit, but also it fires a little bit more quickly, and it also fires more of a
stable rapid fire,
more of a sustained fire that sort of like a charge up and zap. It's more a firing continuously for a short period that sort of does constant damage while it's firing, and then it stops and has to recharge. So it does still have to recharge, but it's quicker. it's a different power mode that it switches into effectively, and it's up to what preference you have for the situation you're in, and because we thought it would be a good idea to give Nod some modability with their defenses, given that GDI has interchangeable component towers. And yes, that's correct. Unlike the original Tiberian Sun, where once you build a turret on it, it's stuck like that forever. In Tiberian Sun Rising, once you build a component tower, you can change the turret at any time. Just note that you have to pay the cost and the build time each time you change it. So changing turrets can get very expensive if you do it a lot, but if it's an emergency and you really need that SAM site to be a RPG tower, or you really need that Vulcan tower to be a SAM site, you can do that. So GDI is very adaptable defenses.
Okay. Now I want to go back to some old questions that have been asked years ago on ModDB. It's like, will there be a version of the mod where the house color rings around the buildings and units are not showcasing, but more like the standards, Tiberian Sun and Tiberian Wars?
You mean turn the rings off and do like a house colors more like Tiberian Wars does it, or?
Yeah, correct.
Given we've had so many requests to turn the rings off, I think we will offer some mode of like reducing the rings or turning more like a lot, you know, like turning it to a slimmer ring mode where like only like the necessity, the most necessary ones display. But I don't think we'll go completely classic CNC or CNC3's style of house coloring. That said, we are experimenting with some new house coloring overlays, but we don't have much to show yet. We're still experimenting with it. The optimization has been higher priority, but we are working on it. Because what inspired the rings was, like, for instance, in recent years, augmented reality tech has been a big thing. It's a growing industry. Tiberian Sun's based in 2030. Augmented reality is established by the time of Tiberian Sun. So our thinking was always that the satellite feed that you're connecting to the battlefield via Ava or via Cabal to control Nod and GDI, you are using an augmented reality interface. And that's what the rings are. That said, we've been quite inspired by a number of augmented reality developments in recent years that had us rethinking what the house color identifiers will look like. That said, we'll share something when it's ready. In the meantime, we'll stick with the rings.
Okay.
But we are exploring another option, given that we seem to get a lot of questions about the rings. So that sort of tells me that they're probably not the final solution. For like there's a better solution here for the augmented reality tagging.
Well, I hope that answers people's question about it, because I do understand that some of them just want to make screenshots without having rings around the buildings. But like I said, I hope you answered that.
And I suppose we could potentially add a way to turn them off completely for screenshotting purposes, if enough people want it. That said, if we did do that, it would have to be tucked away somewhere that doesn't get in the way of normal gameplay or distract. Like make you think it's like one of your powers, like an iron cannon charging ring. Like, have to be something that's hidden away, but is accessible for those that want it for like a photo ops or stuff like that. Which my only regret being a mod is that we can't add an in-game photo mode like a lot of modern games have done. That would be really cool. Sadly, sadly we don't have quite that level of access to the engine to do something like that.
it would be nice if you had just like with Gen Tool for General Zero Hour, where you can pause the game basically during the game to
Yeah,
make trials and everything.
every mod wants that. That's a very cool feature for generals.
I see. Let's see. You mentioned
So sorry. One I wanted to address was we had a question earlier on that I did respond to by text, but I just wanted to call out to it just for anyone else listening. Someone asked about like do we hire developers? The answer is no, we don't hire developers. This is a non-profit, volunteer-driven project. So if you've got some skills that could deliver value, and you're willing to volunteer your time to work on this out of your spare time, and we're pretty flexible on that. Just we don't like enforce a minimum number of hours or anything. It's just I find out how much time each team member has, and I sort of build schedule around what works for you. Because the way I see it is not this is a mod, we can't sell it, so therefore no one can get paid, so it has to stay a passion project, and because it's EA's IP, of course, as well, and the way I see it is that's the least I can do is if you're contributing your time, the least I can do is try to schedule things to suit you. So that's the way I try to run things. And if you're interested in helping the project, I'd love to hear from you. Just send me a portfolio and your background, how you think you might be able to help, and roughly how often you might have some spare time to help, and I'll get back to you. I've already got some messages from at least one person. I'm not going to respond right now just because I got questions flying in all over the place, but I will get back to you after this. Actually, probably tomorrow, because I'm going to be pretty tired after this. But yeah. Okay, Tim. Next question.
let's see. I have to call back up on Twitch. Hold on again. There
was one over here that just jumped out at me. For Nero, who's asking about the Scarab. We wanted to try to get it ready for this event to show, but we found that there's other areas that were a bit needing a bit more attention that we wanted to show, and we still we absolutely want to show the Scarab as well, but with the number of things that we had to do for this showcase, the Scarab was one thing that decided that the scope was maybe if we knew about this event even more in advance than when we found out, it might have been possible to get ready in time, but not to our quality standard by this event. That said, the Scarab reveal will come, and it's going to be awesome, and that's one of the reasons we're delaying it is we don't want to give it a premature, underwhelming reveal. It's it's a new unit. It's a pretty important unit for Nod, and I know some people have some questions about it. Oh, it looks really big. It looks like it's a heavy vehicle. It's not actually a heavy vehicle, and trust me, it very much suits Nod's hit and run style of play, and I hope you'll all fall in love with it when we do the official reveal showing it in game. But we're not ready to show the Scarab just yet.
Perfect answer. Okay, so on Twitch, Master Leaf CNC said you mentioned that that much of the original game was taken. I don't know if this has been answered already. Taken out, which makes this mod one of its kind. Has any other mod done that for this game? Honestly, I think Tiberian Sun Rising is the only mod by now that actually has removed most of the Tiberian Wars base game assets to save memory.
Yeah,
because I cannot think of any other mod that has done that.
Yeah,
that has
and
been
one
released.
And one of the reasons, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. And one of the reasons for that is, the memory optimization's pretty substantial work, and And ideally, if we didn't have to do it, we probably wouldn't, but we found that the benefits are just way too big, and with some of the problems we've been having, it's the best cure-all. And also, given that I've worked professionally as a game developer now, and I've actually worked on titles where we've done memory optimization, it's like, well, yeah, I know what's involved with this, and I've also got people on the team that have the expertise to do this, and it's going to solve some key problems that we had with the beta that we were wanting to launch last year. But yeah, the some stability and performance issues were severe enough to warrant a pretty heavy overhaul like this. Essentially, we didn't want to cyberpunk ourselves. While we're not a big developer like them, this product has been long running, long hyped, and a lot of love and care has gone into it. It's made by a volunteer team, and we felt that after this long run, it would be weird to rush out something that was like half functional and having a lot of problems. It'd be better to take the time and fix it, even if that's going to be painful. Fine, that's the burden we bear as creators.
I also want to go back on that with the tactical standpoint. Is that the game is made with 2 gigabyte of memory on the 32-bit engine or game basically. If it was a 64 bits of game, of course the game will have more memory to load stuff in the background.
Oh yeah, if it was a 64-bit engine, we would be laughing. We would have already released.
Yeah, exactly.
That said, 32-bit's good in the sense that it's requires us to be disciplined. 64-bit allows us to get lazy and not manage memory properly. So at least we're doing the right thing from a development perspective and engineering perspective.
Then there's another question by Jack Lyritak. That's just asking the same question again because we didn't answer that. Is are you going to use the music originally composed for the general 0-hour version of Tiberian Sun Rising that is available on the add-on space on ModDB?
That's a really good question. I was wondering if someone was going to ask this, particularly because we've got new music that we'll be showing in the closing presentation as well. That I was wondering if anyone's going to ask. So I'm glad you asked. Awesome. What are the plans for it? It's a good question. We're still deciding that ourselves. Obviously, we want to give our new composers that have done some amazing work, which I hope you'll like. The one of the new songs in the opening intro was actually an older song that we previously put in a previous trailer for Tiberian Sun Rising. So that's actually not that new, although it's an amazing track done by Chris O'Neill, who actually got snapped up by a studio here, Playside, and they were also doing a real-time strategy game, which is where there's conflict. So he and because that was a paid gig and quite a high-profile project. I was really happy for him that he got such an awesome gig, and helping on Tiberian Sun Rising probably helped. So I'm happy to help people get where they want to go, and Chris was awesome, and that track he did turned out amazing, and I just wanted to show that by including it in the intro video on YouTube. But the new songs by Dimitri and Blinder, one of Blinder's tracks we showed we played part of it in the promo video for this event. That's one of hers. But we'll go through the whole tracks in the closing presentation. There's 2 we'll be showing for each, or listening to, but yeah.
Now, I saw a question popping up that
sorry, I just realized I didn't answer what to do with the old tracks. Yeah, we're still determining what to do with the old tracks. We're hoping to find a place for them to fit in somewhere either in the project, but it's still to be discussed, because I was going through the old tracks, and there's even more ones than the ones we made public. So we've got quite a few
original content,
quite a few extra content. So and we don't want to waste that. We want to honor everyone that's like worked on this project. So yeah, that's the burden on us. Is okay. What to do with this old soundtrack and the new soundtrack, and how to sort of bring them together. That's we're still figuring that out.
Yeah.
We'll keep you advised on what we decide.
Now, I saw the question by Doug Yuri, but can it be possible to release Tiberian Sun Rising on Steam as a mod, like Company of Heroes 1? This is possible though, because I have actually with a different mod. I don't mind if you mind me talking about it, but for example, with Sins of the Prophets, a modification for Sins of Solar Empire Rebellion, we are thinking actually to have it released as a DLC on Steam, so you can actually download the mod on Steam, even though the game doesn't support workshop items. It is possible. But there's a whole difficult thing going on between the parties, because you have to talk with Steam, you have to talk with the original developer of the game to get your mod, which doesn't have your mod for a game that doesn't have a workshop item or option, to be on Steam. So it is possible, but there is a lot of background chatter that needs to be talked about with the developers and the mod developers and the game developers in Steam to have that option going. But it is possible. We haven't, I think. I don't know if you thought about it, but
it's something I was curious about, because like I've seen like there's a Deus Ex mod that ended up on Steam that caught my attention because it's not a Valve game, and I thought it very unusual for Valve to feature a mod that wasn't for a Valve game on Steam. And it certainly warrants us having, I guess, some potential discussions with either, I suppose, both Valve and EA would need to talk to make something like that happen. But that said, like whether like it would be it'd be more up to EA than anyone else. And not to hold that against them. It's just like it's their IP. They own Command and Conquer, Tiberian Sun, Tiberian Wars. So like that's and we want to support EA. We don't want to detract from anything they're doing. Like for instance, like we don't we don't know what EA is planning with like future remasters. If they are doing a Tiberian Sun remaster, we hope they don't see us as competition, because we actually kind of hope that Tiberian Sun Rising will help confirm the demand for a Tiberian Sun remaster if EA doesn't yet have enough data for that. Hopefully this can push it over the edge to make it happen. I guess we'll never know, or if it's already in development, then cool. I guess we'll find out. But yeah, I'd be keen to have those chats if it could be possible to get on Steam. But I suppose at the end of the day, it's not up to us. It's not our IP, so we would respect any decision that EA would make on that.
Yeah, no, it's like I said, if we want to do that, then we have to actually be in some NDA contract emails about to get it working, and so maybe in the future, who knows? It's a maybe thing right now if you can get it working, because it is possible, but of course it's up to EA to get that. It's actually to allow us to do that, but who knows?
There is a gameplay-related question by Red AR. Do you plan to add special support units to the game that can, for example, request airstrikes or satellite attacks, like Zone Captain in Cincy 4?
Generally, as a rule of thumb, with how CNC 4 was received, we generally don't take a lot of design cues from CNC 4. I don't hold anything against the game. It's just that said, like individual mechanics like that are quite cool, and that's not the issue of CNC4. The issue of CNC4 was they drastically changed an established series too much as a major sequel. That was the issue. Whether we have anything like that, there in earlier designs of Tiberian Sun Rising, there were a lot more abilities for units, more like Red Alert 3 actually, and some have made it into the game, but not all, because for scope reasons and in the interest of finishing, we had to sort of decide that, okay, well, let's keep some of the best of these, and let's cull the rest from the schedule for now, because we need to finish this thing, and then we can always look at adding these in, as updates, because there's still some abilities for some units that are super cool that I'd love to add that currently aren't in, because we can't just keep this thing in perpetual development. That's might be fun for us because we're enjoying making the product, but we don't want to unnecessarily torture our fans. As I said, the only reason we're delaying the launch right now is primarily for the optimization, for the stability, and also an added bonus, much smoother performance, but primarily for the greater stability. And as someone mentioned before, they won't have to worry about World Builder crashing anymore on large maps. The optimization we're making should we've already confirmed make the game runs much smoother. With World Builder, it does load faster, and it'll use less memory as well, because it's loading less things into memory because there's less assets it needs to load in. So larger maps should be less of a crash fest in World Builder as well.
And there were lots of questions about Forgotten and Cable factions. I guess we should put all points over ice.
We answered this in the previous showcase, but in earlier designs of Tiberian Sun Rising, where, to be honest, I was probably getting a little bit carried away at the time. This was earlier in the project, but we do have designs for a Forgotten and a Cabal faction that at one point in the project we wanted to do, and were seriously, at one point we were seriously developing the Forgotten faction, actually. And one of the reasons we stopped was we found that GDI and Nod were already a huge handful to do it right, and not just rush something out. So we sort of decided that let's get this release done, and then if we do any more factions, it'll be based on how successful the mod is, how many sort of players are we getting, and also based on everything we've learned now, we've gotten a little bit better at scheduling, and it's always a complex moving machine, this project, because working with a team of volunteers from their spare time, it's not like we're working in a studio with a bunch of full-time employees, which is much easier to manage. I can speak from experience working in studios. It's not only easier to manage, it's much easier and faster to get things done. We will be reassessing things like factions after a launch. That said, no promises, although I am still excited about a lot of the ideas in the designs for Forgotten and Cabal that would be super cool to make. I have no doubt. It's just a question of how can we speed up the development of them, and I think the main thing we would need, because the current team doesn't have as much artists as the team that started the project. We had a lot more artists earlier in the project, and because we're nearing release, we've not needed as many artists. We've needed more animators and and people skilled in other areas to help polish things off. But if we're going to do new factions, we would need to recruit teams of new 3D artists that would be have enough time to get something like done at decent time frame, because we don't want to spend the same amount of time we've already spent doing another 2 factions. We'd want to do that at a much accelerated pace. Otherwise, we probably wouldn't do it.
And it's also so not just the 3D artists, of course. If we want to have a Cabal faction and make them unique, or a Forgotten faction, yes, there's Tiberian Essence and the Forgotten mods that we can take inspiration from, but we need concept artists for that as well to make unique designs for sub factions or new factions.
And that's it, because we did a lot of world building with what we've already added to the universe. The faction designs that were built up for Forgotten Cabal earlier in the project did expand on the world a bit. Cabal actually fits in quite well with the Firestorm period in terms of his faction, although we did borrow some inspiration from CNC Incursion, the cancelled Westwood CNC3 project. So Cabal is actually essentially quite advanced, and we were thinking because of the Tacitus and he's an AI, that would happen quite quickly for him. And with Forgotten, what we have in mind for Forgotten is quite different from what the Forgotten mod has already done. I haven't seen another mod do the Forgotten quite with what we have in mind. But it's very, very different kind of faction that is difficult to describe, and I don't want to go into details on these things because then people will think that, oh, we're making this, and as I said, I don't want to get people's hopes up. So that's all I'm going to say about those factions for now, is that yeah, if we can get enough artists that are keen to work on those, and we can get a decent time frame down for something like that, I'd be very interested. Otherwise, it's probably too much work, given we've already spent a long time on this project. Would probably, but that said, the campaign is probably looking like the next thing we would be looking at addressing, particularly with how keen some of our level designers are, like Sigor, who's jumping at the bit to do more campaign stuff.
I also have my own question, because since I'm recently new to the team, is the campaign going to be one-on-one, as in Tiberian Sun, or is it going to have its own artistic freedom?
50-50. That I want to keep the idea of the original ones, but I want to experiment with some additions. For example, well, original ones have restricted by its age. Original game is from 1990s. So if there be an idea that I want to implement that that will be nice in the map, I will implement it. I will try to make it more various. Also, I want to add some additional quests, some additional tasks for the player. So this feature will be implemented in the latest Command & Conquer games. So I want to bring this feature to Tiberian Sun maps, Tiberian Sun missions. So yes, I will experiment with it, but keep the original idea.
Okay, thank you for answering. Because
yeah, that's good.
like I said, I'm new, and it's good. It definitely is.
Just to sum up on that, as the project lead, yeah, that pretty much matches up with my thinking as well. And that if we are going to do a campaign, we not just a 1-for-1 remake was the thinking. It'd be more just like we've created a new vision of Tiberian Sun, essentially, with Tiberian Sun Rising. But still stayed very true to the original. We'd be kind of looking to do something similar with the campaign. So some of our new units and new changes would feature into the missions. We were might have some new moments that weren't part of the original missions, but it would still be, like, you'll still be going after Vaker's dam. You'll still be trying to get the Tacitus from the Skrin ship before Vaker's men. You'll still be going on those adventures. It's just they may not happen in the same way, and there may be new units and capabilities and new possibilities, which we hope to sort of surprise people a bit with that, in the sense, but still have a feeling of nostalgia. So so you're not just doing something you've done exactly. You're not just doing the same thing you've done before when you were younger. You're getting something new and improved, but still kind of true to the original, is what we're kind of thinking with a campaign. Oh, and those shouting out interest in translations, that is something we're looking to, in regards to localizing the mod. Tiberian Sun Rising, there's a lot of languages out there. We want to support as many as we can, and the best way to do that is to get some help from the community. So absolutely, those interested in helping with localization and translation to other languages, direct message me. Very interested to get that rolling and set up a huge localization spreadsheet that I've kind of used at some studios I've worked at. So I've used something like before, so I know what monstrous spreadsheet to build, and get people to start translating. I think that would be really good.
Yeah, definitely. Are there specific things you personally want to talk about?
Is that a question for me or for just anyone on the team?
For you.
Uh,
Like the technical reason for having switching over from Channel 0 to Tiberian Wars. Of course, the reason I think that you switch over to Tiberian Wars is because it's a Tiberian game. So most of the mechanics, like having Tiberian respawn, it's already made in the engine.
Essentially, that was the main motivating reason for moving from 0 Hour. 0 Hour is a fine game and a fine engine, but the biggest motivation wasn't the graphics. Graphics are nice, but at the end of the day, gameplay makes or breaks a game. It wasn't about graphics, but it was about just the fact that CNC3 has a much better feature overlap with Tiberian Sun than General 0 Hour does, and the amount of work involved and the amount of compromises we had to make on some features, were just not really acceptable to our quality standards. Comparing the 0 Hour version to the CNC3 version, I suppose we've gotten better with Sage, having worked with it over multiple games now, because Generals was also made in Sage, but sorry, I'm just fixing the background. So Generals was also made in Sage, so I've got a lot more experience with the engine, more knowledgeable and all that, but even if we went back to General 0 Hour now, we wouldn't be able to get it to do things as well as we've gotten working in CNC3. And EA did a really stellar job upgrading the engine. I know that they really don't get enough credit for how much work went into the engine, going from Generals to CNC3. And that said, CNC3 also benefited hugely from Battle for Middle-earth 2, which was before CNC3, and a lot of those improvements went into CNC3, along with even more improvements and upgrades they made to the engine specifically for CNC3.
Yeah. Well, from my own experience with Tiberian Sun Redux, for you contacted me to help with Tiberian Sun Horizon. It's basically the same reason why I switched it from General Zero to Tiberian Sun. Tiberian Wars, because of most of the things like the construction yard build mechanics. So switching up the dosage system to the construction yard system, growing Tiberium, fine holes and everything, tentacles. It was a lot of hacky black magic to make it work, and luckily this engine supports most of it. So which is one of the reasons why I switched. I kind of seen, well, just like you said, this was one of the reasons you also switch up
And as I
engine wise.
sorry, and as I saw the Tiberian Sun Redux on what for 0 hour, I saw that there were lots of problems with just simple things like visuals of Walker units. There is quite possible to implement Walker units in 0 hour engine. So
Yeah.
so the first and the main thing by switching to CNC 3 engine was a good thing that all the visuals, all the it looks pretty old for nowadays, but it looks natural. I say that word.
And we got a question about the wall hub upgrades. How to make them? Is that can the wall hubs be upgraded to a component tower? At the moment, no, but we are looking at streamlining the wall building, gate building, and component tower building experience because at the moment you sort of have to build a wall of gates, and then you have to build a wall of walls, and then a wall of firestone walls all separately, and annoyingly the engine won't let you the wall hub from the automatic gates can only be used to extend more automatic gates. You can't build walls off it, but what we can do is we can make it that you can swap those hubs out to switch it into a wall building mode. But I was originally hoping that you'd be able to build multiple wall types off a single hub. Sadly, the engine doesn't quite support that, so it just means we have to add a little bit more upgrade levels. It's not going to be as nice, but it will make it nicer than it currently is. So I've just been looking for the time to work on that. There's been higher priority tasks. And in terms of upgrading to a component tower, that should be possible. One thing that we experimented with early on was we tried to make component towers the default wall hub, just to see what would happen. And the game didn't like that, actually. It didn't like a weapon being part of a wall hub as part of the construction process, at least. So, but upgrading into it, I don't think will be an issue. And even if that doesn't work, we do have alternative options. Like something I'm considering is, how the screen can build the Tiberium accelerator over a Tiberium field. What we could do is allow component towers to be built on top of a wall hub or a gate hub, and it would replace that hub in the process. So we could do something like that so that we got multiple options. Just need the time to work on it. At the moment, there's higher priority tasks than that, but it is on our lists. This project the to-do list is quite monstrous, although it's nowhere near as bad as when we started. So it's
improved a lot, yeah.
Well, I mean, when we started, we didn't quite have the experience to know how truly scary and big this project was. It's only now looking back that's like, oh dear, this thing's a nightmare. But it's been an awesome journey, and I think it's given us a more abundant mindset to what's possible, because I find, or especially remember in the early days, a lot of people just saying that's not possible, you can't do that, and these days I just show them and they're like, huh. Of course, when they ask how long it's taken, then they're a little bit less impressed, but then I say like, but still, it's volunteer driven, no funding at all, and then they're like, oh, okay, well that sounds really hard. I'm like, exactly. Like, if we're getting paid, I mean, well, one, we would be developing faster, and two, that would make things a lot easier. Yeah, this has to be your spare time, because, you know, we need to do other things for work, because, you know, this is EA's IP, and we respect that. So we are not looking to profit in any way that we shouldn't be. Although that said, there's a lot happening with creators and Patreon and some other mods, and it's still something to investigate very carefully, because it's still a kind of a gray area. We need to meticulously go through the remastered modding guidelines and also Patreon's guidelines and stuff like that. But even I'd be worried about something like that changing the spirit of the project, because it's been a passion-driven thing all this time. So yeah, if we did do anything like that, we'd proceed very carefully. Certainly, at least not for now, just because, yeah, this it's very tricky, and there's a lot of things to sort out with something like that. Particularly for, and not just the legal implications, but also like, where does that go? What's it used for? All that kind of stuff. So, a lot of things to sort out.
No, definitely. So, privately, we've been talking about doing this more often. I do actually find it fun, interesting to interact with the community, answer questions, showcase what we have. So I feel like we should do this more when we have the time, of course. What's your opinion on that?
Sorry, which question was that?
Oh no, it's not a question. It's just in general that we were talking about doing this more often, having events, live streams of the development, answering questions for the community.
Definitely, I would like to do updates more often, and
Yeah.
I think having done this event, this has been really cool. I would definitely like to do more things like this. Maybe not quite this big on a regular basis, but maybe something smaller, more focused on specific things. But yeah, I'd certainly be interested in doing that. And in terms of regular updates, it's events become quite challenging between my day job and Tiberian Sun Rising, like working on the actual development, helping manage the team, and also do all the promotion, and particularly when we're doing the optimization with initially quite a small optimization team, and now with the extra help from Hostile and Firehawk, that's gone a long way to helping boost the speed of that, but also ease the stress levels and burden of doing the work with a smaller team.
Yeah.
And so that's made promotion a bit easier. If Hostile and Firehawk hadn't joined the team, we probably wouldn't be able to fully participate in this event as much as we have, kind of thing. And but that said, if anyone's interested in helping us with run the social media side of things and promote things, and help highlight the amazing things that the team's doing, so that the team can spend more time focusing on development, and that includes me, because I don't get to just manage the team. I've got tons of dev tasks myself, which may not be the best way to run a project, but when you got a volunteer team like this, you can't run the same way an actual game studio does. It just doesn't work.
No, it's also so the thing is, it's a, like you said, it's a volunteer project. Everyone else has their own thing going on, life, work. For example, Sarge Rowe is working on his indie game. Ardent Seas. Me, for example, I'm working on
Oh,
several
and
projects
by the way,
as well.
everyone should check that out. By the way, Ardency is
Yeah.
it's come a long way, and I was already impressed with the early shots, but the latest shots have been astounding. So if you're looking for a naval RTS, hit up Ardency and support that. Sergeant Rowe has been great help to us, and we'd like to try to help out when we can. And in fact, I will be once we get TS Rising beta out, I will actually be helping with some of the level design on Ardencies to help pay back Sergeant Rowe for the the assistance he's given us on Tiberian Sun Rising.
Yeah, I just posted the link to the ModDB page on Twitch and Discord. So if you never heard of it, drop a follow. Keep an eye on it.
That is on Steam. You can wishlist it right now. It's not out yet, but it has a profile on Steam that you can wishlist.
So releases soon, as he will say.
Yeah, hopefully not as long a development as ours, but and so far their progress has been a lot more rapid. But that's also because Sarge has done other projects before, and that gave a big learning curve. And Tiberian Sun Rising, a lot of the problems we've had are inherited from the early days of the project when a lot of us weren't really that skilled and not really that knowledgeable in game development, and there's just some things that if you do at the start of the project, it makes the whole project a lot easier all the way through, particularly because you've got that energy at the start and you've got a group of people that are excited about an idea at the start, and once the project's gone for a long enough period of time, there is some changeover, and you've got to keep injecting passion into the team to sort of keep things going. And if anyone's wondering how I manage it, not 100% sure really. I really love not just Command & Conquer, but I really love game development and game design, and it's something I'm really passionate about, and I like spending my time doing, and I like working with people that are also passionate about creating amazing game projects. That's what gets me out of bed in the morning, really.
Yeah, no, same here.
And that's also why I enjoy my current job as well, where while I'm not working at a game studio, like I am, which would preclude me from working on this as much as I want to anyway. So yeah, teaching right now has been awesome, very rewarding. I get to work with Unreal 4 teaching. That's awesome, and it's an amazing engine. And then I get to work on Tiberian Sun Rising in my spare time, which it's been awesome, and it's really helped balance better with the project, because I think the times when I was working full-time at a game studio were the times when we were the most silent, because either I was just so busy with my day job that I didn't have much time to work on this, or I was working at the day job and maybe working on some development for this and just not having any time or energy to promote things, because working full-time at a game studio is not it's not a low energy activity. It's quite intense. It takes a lot out of you. And it's difficult to keep making stuff when you come home after doing that for an entire day.
Oh no, definitely. I mean, it's okay. So, for example, if we talk for a couple of years back with the Australian game event, GCAP, which you introduced me with. From my understanding is that so first I was like, okay, a mod is just a mod. It's not a game, because you are modifying a existing engine game, just change content. But from my understanding, what I heard from actually real game developers is that what you have to do, don't look at, if you're making a mod, don't look at your mod as it's just a mod. If you're doing total conversion, you're just making your own game at this. With of course the assets and the tools you have, of course you are limited to the engine's limits because you don't have the source code. But it's nice to see that developers see mods as a quote-unquote game itself, which should actually, if you start a mod, that it should motivate you to actually develop more on it.
Yeah, and I can definitely attest to that, having crossed that threshold to working as a professional dev, breaking out of just being a modder and doing professional dev, and then also coming back to modding as well, and now even teaching game development. That professional development and modding, like game development's game development. Whether you're doing an indie game, you're doing a mod, or you're doing, or you're working at a studio working on a game, you're working with a game engine. You're working with a team making a game that has a certain scope, needs to, it's only got so much manpower, and it's got a team of people with certain skills that deliver value to different areas like art, code, design, some of the key areas, and then you got production, which helps manage the whole thing and keep it running. And all game teams need these functions. And while we might not have as deeper access to the Sage engine as, say, like the EA devs that worked at the EA studio, also keep in mind that if you worked at EA at the time of, say, like Command & Conquer 3, the only people that really had like the full source code access to the engine were the programmers working on the engine. Everyone else, wherever like that was in design or art, they could put in like feature requests or work with developers to get things they need, but that still has to go through a whole pipeline of like how important is it? Does it is it critical to the game? How long would it take? All that thing. Whereas things have changed quite a bit now with Unity and Unreal 4, where you've got more developers than ever working directly with the game engine. It may surprise some people to know that wasn't always the case in studios. You had used to have designers working with the engine to some extent, although limited to tools that the developers had built for the designers to interact with the engine, because the programmers usually don't want designers messing with source code, because that's a scary idea to an engineer. And
it is.
And artists, they wouldn't have any code access. Whereas now, with Unreal 4 and Unity, the programming side's a bit more approachable. Everyone can contribute more. Like if they know the engine well enough, they can contribute more value in more areas. But that said, people are still expected to focus on their discipline. So like if you're an artist, you're still primarily going to do art, but you'll actually be hooking it up to the engine instead of getting a programmer to hook up your art. You can add your art to the engine. You're not going to be coding how it works. A programmer will still do that, but you'll hook up the art yourself. Whereas in the past, you'd have to get a program to hook up the art for you, which is kind of what we do in Tiberian Sun Rising, actually, because it's an older engine. We do things a little bit old fashioned because while the art assets aren't as difficult as even some engines to add. It's not as easy as Unreal or Unity to add them in. So usually one of us on the working on the development side is hooking up art for the artists to the game engine.
Well, let's return to the questions. There is an interesting question for you.
Yeah,
are there any
that's
plans for a Tiberian weapon mechanic in the Spirit of the Renegade? After killing with a Tiberian weapon, the enemy turns into a Tiberian life form.
Are there any plans for a Tiberian weapon mechanic in the Spirit of the Renegade? After killing a Tiberian weapon, the enemy turns into a Tiberian life form. Oh, so you mean like if you kill infantry with if infantry dies from Tiberium, they form Visceroids? Is that what you're asking?
I think so, yeah.
Absolutely, yes. Yes, Visceroids work a lot like they do in Tiberian Sun, and that'll be in the ecosystem footage.
I also see questions coming up on Twitch with will the Visceroids gonna kill half my base like in the original Tiberian Sun?
Kind of. The Visceroids have been made slightly less deadly currently, but they're still pretty dangerous. But that said, Tiberium Fiends are the bigger threat. With generally sort of going with at least Tiberian Sun Rising, the Visceroids are quite damaging, but the Fiends are the more dangerous. That said, the green Tiberian Fiends aren't quite as deadly as they were in Tiberian Sun, because we've got the new blue Tiberian Fiend, which launches explosive Tiberium shards and is also armored, unlike the green Fiend, so it's stronger and it's more deadly. So the blue Fiend is terrifying. That's the thing you have to worry about sneaking into your base, which if you saw in the dropship footage, I started a dropship drop-off, not realizing a blue Fiend is sneaking into my base, and you probably saw in the footage that it was attacking my base while the dropship was going somewhere else, and I was just like, no, that's really bad. That blue Fiend's gonna ruin me. And it didn't destroy my base. I built some Titans and took it out, but it's that said, the blue Fiend's not quite as its balancing needs some tweaking. It should be harder to kill than it is currently, but its damage is about right. It's pretty damaging, and yeah, while the green Fiend's not quite as deadly as original Tiberian Sun, it's especially deadly to infantry. It's less damaging to structures and vehicles than its Tiberian Sun counterpart, but the blue Fiend, because of its explosive shards, that's the thing that's effective against structures and vehicles. Oh, it still will, hurt infantry quite badly as well, but it's more geared towards armor. And the Visceroid's more of a... it does do serious damage, but the Visceroid's a much bigger threat when the Visceroid hunt in packs, which doesn't happen that often naturally, but, if a lot of devout Nod troops sacrifice themselves in Tiberium, a Visceroid uprising can be seen to happen.
Yeah, so basically, the AI or the other player is not the only concern on the battlefield.
Oh, and it's not that weird-legged Visceroid from CNC3, no. We've got our own sludgy, blobby thing that crawls along the ground, and its attack animation is awesome. I really look forward to people's reactions to the footage from the ecosystem showcase, where people get to see how the Visceroid attacks, because it's kind of hard to see in Tiberian Sun, but based on the established lore about the Visceroid and everything we know about it, we base the animation off that, and I hope you like it. I'm not going to spoil it. It looks really cool. Don did an amazing job animating the Visceroid for this event, as well as Cyborg Commando and Cyborg Reaper, and yeah, Don's awesome. He's been killing it with the animations.
No. Nero on Twitch says, floaters? Question mark?
Floaters. We do have the asset for them. They are done. One of the reasons we haven't revealed them yet is we still need to give them the full animation treatment. And the floaters are, particularly because of their jellyfish-like floaty nature with tendrils and things, they're quite a bit of work involved. So I'm just trying to get Don's time on that as soon as we can, but there is a little bit more polish to do on Cyborg Commando. Although the animation looks good, there's still some more polish to do on that, and there is some other work that needs to be done before the floater, but I am keen to get the floater animated sooner rather than later, so because I also want to show you guys how the floaters come together in Tiberian Sun Rising. It's very cool.
Now, honestly, what I have to say from playing the internal builds, it's amazing what you and the team have done so far. It is still Tiberian Wars, but it plays totally different with the ecosystem that is involved in this.
Oh yeah, that was one of the features that particularly especially I was super excited about when we started this project was the Tiberium ecosystem, and yet ironically we had to make Tiberian Sun Rising before we could really fully realize the ecosystem. And it's and while there's still a bit more work in implementing a bit more of the ecosystem's features, yeah, they're like we'll be showing some of them in the showcase, but there are more coming. And the ecosystem is kind of an haven't seen anything quite like it in an RTS before, so we are learning from doing it. Like, we're learning what's a good amount of like, how much should the environment affect the gameplay, to what degree, how hostile should the life forms be in these maps, and how much of a role should they play, because we don't want to ruin someone's match, but at the same time we want to keep them on their toes and keep things interesting, because the world of Tiberian Sun's a deadly deadly world, approaching a catastrophe, because by the time of Firestorm, the Earth, as GDI reports, the Earth is going to be uninhabitable in about six months from when Firestorm begins. So it's like a pre-apocalypse. Like it's sort of like it's kind of like referencing not now, but I suppose back when Westwood was working on this, I'm probably thinking, climate change looks like it's going to be a big thing, and by 2030 it's probably going to be really bad, and I feel like Tiberium's kind of inspired by that. And yeah, I just hope we're not too late to solve climate change, because yeah, Tiberian Sun's kind of a I mean, Tiberium makes that future way more bleak, but yeah, it's like Tiberium's still like kind of a metaphor for the world changing in unexpected and in harsh ways. And yeah, it's an exciting fiction, but I wouldn't want to live in the world of Tiberian Sun.
Yeah, I guess nobody will.
Or at least not a civilian. Yeah, I'd want to be on either GDI or Nod. I know my preference is generally to Nod. At least from a fiction point of view, I love Nod and Kane, but like knowing everything about Nod, it does have one question. Well, how long can one really survive working for Nod? So it's like, maybe GDI would actually be the better bet, but do they actually have a solution to the Tiberian problem, or are they kidding themselves? Like, maybe Nod's way of embracing the new world's the way to go. So like, I'd have to really ponder it, because as a fan, oh yeah, I'm on board with the Tiberian world and following Kane's vision. But in terms of like, if that was real, yeah, it's I don't know. Like, that vision's also a little bit scary, when you put it in a real context.
Oh, definitely is. I mean, also, like I said before, from the internal builds, it's totally different from the base game, especially with the being life form on the map and the ecosystem. It's amazing what you team so far have done. I'm glad to be part of the team as well.
Yeah, and you've done some really great work helping with the commando, and also doing a lot of the build-up animations, which we look forward to showing more of those after this event, because we didn't get time to hook them all up, sadly.
Yeah.
And yeah, you've been helping with a lot of bits and pieces, Tim, particularly on the art and animation side, and yeah, really appreciate the assistance. It's been awesome having you on the team. And
Go ahead.
And that goes to everyone on the team. I really,
Yeah.
Really appreciate everything that everyone's put into this, both past and current members. I'm honored to lead you on this project, and I hope I've done a good job being a leader, or at least I hope I'm being a better leader than I've been in the past, in the sense that it's been a long project, so clearly clearly I was on a learning curve for a while. So you know, I hope I'm doing a much better job these days. So yeah. But that said, I'm working hard to try to have the entire team working smarter so we can get things done faster rather than have these big long development runs, which sometimes can't be helped with real life, and particularly the COVID situation certainly is not helped. But yeah, we're doing our best with the spare time we have, and we're continuing to try to seek smarter and more efficient ways to run.
No, I do have to say that it's also kind of on my end with the build animations. I should have done them sooner, faster,
Awesome.
so we can actually showcase them. But most of them are actually almost done. I made a personal list on what to do for the Not faction because GDI should be done right now.
Fantastic.
And then we have the destruction animations for the health stage, which is going to be another pain in the ass to do because
Yes.
I do love to see chunks falling off interact with the other matches objects of the building itself. For example,
there are-
the GDI power plant, I
Yeah.
want to have like a piece fall off and then interact with whatever around it. So
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah, we'll
I'm
have
on
to
that.
work smart with those because it's easy to spend a lot of time making awesome destruction things, but we don't want to overdevelop them at the same time. But we also want them to look good, so we'll have to strike a good
Yes.
balance there. That said, you know, we do have some damage states for a small number of things from. But yeah, we do need to expand on that. I was working on some for the showcase, but I had to drop a lot of it because integrating a lot of what the team was producing consumed, and shooting footage also consumed so and promoting the event consumed so much more time than what I was hoping. So I didn't finish as far with the damage states as I was hoping to, but made some encouraging discoveries that should expedite our the speed at which we can get that done, and still look really good.
Also,
Yep.
You're familiar with the herbivore from Tiberian Twisted Insurrection? Because Nero asked about it. Like herbivore Tiberian creatures like Twisted Insurrection has. I don't know what he's talking about because I'm not really familiar with Twisted Insurrection.
I was watching a little bit of footage of it recently, and it's really love the work they've done on Twisted Insurrection. It's a very cool project. That currently isn't within the ecosystem, although that said, you know, I'm always looking for ways to improve the ecosystem or add more to flesh out the world, but also serve a gameplay function. So having some herbivores in the ecosystem that serve a function is an interesting prospect that I'll play with that. I'll play with the design of that and see what comes up. It's yeah, because that would be something new. It wouldn't be something we'd be doing for our current development slate. But that said, yeah, I am looking for what's the things that are going to be top priority once we've got a beta out, and yeah, if there's a really cool gameplay function in there that adds a lot of value, yeah, that's something I'd be keen to do, because the ecosystem is probably the our big feature. That's the big new thing that Tiberian Sun Rising has, I guess, besides, you know, expanding on Tiberian Sun and adding a lot of new things. The ecosystem is one of the bigger things that we're doing that hasn't really been done in particularly not the Command and Conquer series, but I haven't seen many other strategy games do anything like it either. So, and there are some survival RTSs that sort of have some basic elements, but it's more geared towards like fighting huge zombie waves and things like that, which that is not what our system is. So yeah, be keen to explore that further. So yeah, thanks for the input there, and sorry if I'm trailing off a bit. I'm getting quite tired. It's quite.
Yes, so we have final words before we And
So yeah, thanks everyone for coming for this QA. It's been awesome. This is my second stream ever now, so starting to get a little bit more comfortable with it. Yeah, really enjoyed this actually. This has been super cool, like interacting directly with the fans, like live like this. Whereas, you know, in the past I've sort of gotten used to reading comments on ModDB or on the Discord, but usually because of different time zones, you know, it's not usually, you know, completely live. So it's yeah, this is really cool. It's been a real treat. Worth
Yeah,
staying up late for.
Definitely is. Yeah, no, it definitely is. Definitely is.
that was actually really cool for me because it was my first public English speech. So you probably noticed that. So thank you for everyone who took part in this Q&A.
Ah, fantastic. And thank you for joining us, everyone from the team, and taking some time out of your schedule to answer our fans' questions and participate in the discussion. Hostile, you haven't...
Yep, it was a pleasure.
Ah, no worries. And Hostile, you haven't said much this evening. Is there anything you wanted to say?
Not really.
No, really. Okay.
It's all good. Hostile's been
all
hard
good.
at work on the optimization. He's been doing great jobs. Keep up the awesome work, Hostile. You've been doing amazing work, which, you know, while that wasn't a key part of the showcase, it's key. It's a very important job towards getting a beta release out. So yeah, I'm glad we were still making progress on that while also doing the showcase event, which was awesome because normally an event like this would have to drop everything to focus on the event. So yeah, this has been really good. Really appreciate the hard work you've been putting in, and from everyone on the team, especially how much work that's gone in for this showcase as well. Like we've gotten a lot done, a lot polished, and it came together great. So thanks everyone for the hard work, both team members present and not present. And just before we wrap up, I just want to say that yeah, we've got an international team here as well. So we, you know, like I'm from Australia, Duff Jane's from Germany. Sagor, you're from Russia, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Hostile's also from Australia. And Tim, you're from US or?
No, not at all. I'm from the Netherlands.
Netherlands, that's right. Sorry.
Yeah.
Getting
yeah, no problem.
getting my team members mixed up. Sorry. It's Don that's from the US.
It's fine. It's fine.
So yeah, we've got an international team. It's been an international effort of volunteers, and yeah, I just wanted to highlight that. Yeah, that we've got diversity, and I love the diversity on the team, and definitely try to get more of that where we can. And yeah, and Sakura, you've been doing excellent with your English tonight. Really appreciate you. Giving a go live, and it's been awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No problem. Also, I want to say for the event, tomorrow is Tiberian Resurrection. It's on Tuesday. And then the event goes till the 29th of August. So there's a lot more Tiberian Sun themes mods going on.
Yeah.
And on the 27th, I think, this is on the Friday, we're going to have a tournament.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you know who's hosting the tournament?
I forget. I'd have to check the schedule for who's hosting the tournament, but it's going to be awesome. Check it out. Stay tuned in with the Tiberian Sun Anniversary server for more details about what's coming up. It'll be promoted there, and stick with the celebration and celebrate. You know, Tiberian Sun, 22 years old. Westwood's left an awesome legacy with the community making all these projects. And you know, we're really grateful for all the hard work that Westwood and EA have put in on the series over the years, keeping it going, and yeah, and thank you to everyone you know, coming tonight to ask questions or to participate in the event. It's been awesome having you.
Definitely. And I'm maybe in the future I will be streaming more development stuff like animations and stuff on my personal Twitch. That's fine with you.
Yeah, well, I'll have a chat about that, but yeah, we
Yeah, definitely.
keen to do more stuff like this. Yeah, it's been awesome. Alrighty, yeah. So welcome back, Commanders. I hope it's been an exciting. So yeah, thank you everyone, and yeah, I think we'll stop the stream here.
Sounds good. I want to say, everyone, thank you for joining us on Twitch and on Discord for the questions.
Thanks everyone. It's been awesome. Thanks for coming and participating in the event. Really appreciate it. Alright, this is Assassin and the Tiberian Sun Rising team signing off.
Bye bye.
See ya.